Did Ripple really drop a jaw-dropping $20 billion 0 cents to buy Circle, the company behind USDC? The headlines are buzzing, but here's the kicker. There's no solid evidence to back it up. None, zero. So why is this story spreading like wildfire? Let me break it down for you. Now, don't get me wrong. The idea of Ripple making a mega offer like this isn't far-fetched. It's actually pretty believable. But is there any legit source confirming a $20 billion 0 cents deal? Nope, nada. Just to be clear, before we dive deeper though, let me remind you, I'm not a financial expert, far from it. I'm not here to give you financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any investment decisions based on what I say. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves talking about this stuff on YouTube for fun. A few days ago, this rumor hit the scene, and of course, I had to make a video about it. It's exciting, right? Ripple is on a mission to dominate the crypto world, aiming to be the backbone of enterprise-level crypto infrastructure. They're going big, and this rumor fits the narrative, even if the facts aren't there yet. Ask Brad Garlinghouse what Ripple does today, and you won't get a simple, oh, we're a fintech company working on cross-border payments. Not anymore. That might have been the answer back in 2017, but things have changed. Ripple has become a powerhouse, a true juggernaut in the space. And here's the exciting part. XRP is the driving force behind it all. The heartbeat of everything they do, naturally. Having a company whose core mission is to ensure the long-term success of XRP and the XRP ledger, that's pretty exciting if you ask me. It really makes me wonder if this deal goes through and Ripple ends up owning Circle, wouldn't it make sense for USDC to land on the XRP ledger? Keep in mind, every single transaction on the XRP ledger requires XRP. So this could be a game changer. The podcast enthusiast, Ripple already has RLUSD, of course, which raises an interesting question. What happens when two competing coins are under the same roof? Would they keep pushing RLUSD forward? Or would USDC, the clear heavyweight in the space, take center stage? It's definitely something to think about as we look toward the future of adoption and branding in the crypto world. Ripple made waves recently with a bold move to acquire Circle, the well-known stablecoin issuer, but things didn't go as planned. Reports claim Ripple offered a hefty $4 0 cents to $5 billion 0 cents for the deal, but Circle said no thanks. It raises the question, why didn't Ripple just push their own brand harder instead of eyeing an established player like Circle? Sure, Ripple could make RLUSD a household name with enough effort, but acquiring Circle would have meant skipping the line and leveraging an already trusted brand. Let's rewind for context. According to an April 30th Bloomberg report, Ripple's multi-billion-dollar bid was turned down for being too low. While it's unclear if Ripple will double down and come back with a higher offer, it's an intriguing story to follow. The world of blockchain and stablecoins never fails to keep us guessing, does it? Less than 30 days after Circle filed for an IPO in the US, rumors of an acquisition attempt started swirling. Cointelegraph reached out to Circle and Ripple for comment, but as of publication, no word from either side. Interestingly, Ripple boasted an $11 billion 0 cent valuation in 2024, though CEO Brad Garlinghouse dismissed that figure as outdated in January. Translation, it's likely worth even more. But here's the real kicker. Ripple dropped a cool $1,200 million 0 cents in April to acquire prime broker Hidden Road, a move they claim will supercharge activity for XRP and the XRP ledger. This is the kind of strategic play that cements XRP's position as a long-term powerhouse. Honestly, I'm already convinced it's a winner in the blockchain game, and this just reinforces it. It couldn't be more obvious. XRP has solidified itself as a cornerstone of the crypto world. It's not just sticking around, it's becoming unshakable. Exactly what any XRP holder wants to see, right? We were spot on. XRP is one of the early champions of the crypto space, and at this point, it's beyond clear. The initial report, straight from Bloomberg, with credible sources backing it up. The message is loud and clear. XRP is here to stay, and it's only growing stronger. Okay, no one's really questioning the claim itself, but let's talk about this $20 billion 0 cents figure. Where's that even coming from? Turns out it seems to trace back to a website called Tech Story, which honestly I'd never heard of before. The headline, Ripple's $5 billion 0 cents bid for Circle rejected. Garlinghouse responds with $20 billion 0 cents offer. Now hold up. Going from $5 billion 0 cents to $20 billion 0 cents, That's a massive jump, like 4 to 5 times higher. Really? That's the next move? Color me skeptical. Sure, it's possible they've got a plan to throw down a much larger offer, but it's hard not to raise an eyebrow at numbers like that. Would it shock me if this turned out true? Not really. But $20 billion, 0 cents? And we find out about it the next day with no clear source? Here's what they wrote, and I can't help but wonder, did someone just sit down, type this out, pull numbers out of thin air and hit publish purely for attention? Then somehow it spreads like wildfire? So take a look at this. One article claims Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse upped the offer to $20 billion, 0 cents, saying the deal is close to completion. That's it. No sources, no receipts, just a bald assertion. And of course, the XRP community ran with it. Accounts with massive followings started amplifying it. Like Amelie with 100,000 followers, she shared the story as if it were gospel. Then there's Crypto Sensei, boasting 600 followers, also spreading that $20 billion 0 cents claim. The issue here is something worth pointing out. Sure, hearsay is hearsay and rumors are going to be part of the conversation. That's fine. I don't have a problem with discussing rumors, but when there's a single source throwing out an unverified claim without any explanation of where their numbers come from, and then that claim spreads like wildfire, it's frustrating. Why aren't people more skeptical of outrageous claims when there's literally no backing? Look, if it's Bloomberg, that's one thing. You'd expect they've got credible sources, so people run with it. Fair enough. But when a random site like Tech Story comes out of nowhere and becomes the sole source for some wild assertion, how do you take that seriously? If it turns out to be true, great, but why trust it before it's properly verified? We need more skepticism, not blind belief. Then Cointelegraph goes and picks up this nonsense too. Here they are boldly posting on Facebook about Ripple supposedly upping its bid for Circle from $5 billion, 0 cents to $20 billion, 0 cents to dominate the stablecoin market. Based on what? It's like they didn't even pause to question the source. Cointelegraph, aren't they the ones we're supposed to trust? Yet here we are. They posted something on X only to delete it before I could even pull it up for this video. The post is still up on Facebook, but I wouldn't be surprised if they quietly remove it there too. Maybe they realized pushing this kind of content wasn't their smartest move. Honestly, I expect better from an outlet like Cointelegraph. But here's the thing. They still ran with that story. Why? What's the play here? It just doesn't add up. Now, I can totally get behind the idea of Ripple negotiating something huge, maybe even at a higher price point. But this doesn't feel like a logical leap. It's like they just threw caution out the window. Where's the sense in that? There's a post making waves from a guy named Andrew, can't recall his last name and it's not listed, but with 53,100 followers on X, he's definitely a voice people pay attention to. Why? Because he's got a history of dropping rumors that turn out to be spot on. His track record for accuracy has earned him some trust in the rumor mill, and when he speaks, people listen. Today, Andrew posted an intriguing update. Ripple's increased bid for Circle isn't confirmed yet, but there's serious back and forth. He also mentioned that Ripple has gone beyond the initial reports of their $5 billion 0 cents public offer. While Andrew isn't claiming it's as high as $20 billion 0 cents, his reputation suggests he's not one to throw baseless speculation into the mix. He's like, yeah, there's more going on, something brewing here. Okay, I'm intrigued. Then attorney John Deaton jumps in, reposting this and adding some juicy details. Circle filed its S1 with the SEC on April 1, 2025, gearing up to list on the NYSE under the ticker CRCL, with heavyweights JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup leading the charge. IPO set to drop this summer has Circle eyeing a valuation between $4 billion 0 cents and $5 billion 0 cents, lining up with Ripple's bold $5 billion 0 cents offer. But let's not forget, Circle once aimed for a whopping $9 billion 0 cents valuation during a failed SPAC deal back in 2022. Circle turning down the $5 billion 0 cents offer speaks volumes. It's clear they see their value soaring beyond that, especially post-IPO. They might even be eyeing the $9 billion 0 cents mark from their 2022 SPAC attempt. Factor in the recent regulatory U-turn with an administration now favoring crypto and the likely passage of the Stable Genius Act, and suddenly a $10 billion 0 cents deal doesn't sound so far-fetched. Crazy? Not really. In fact, I'd agree a $10 billion 0 cents valuation wouldn't shock me. Will it happen? Who knows? But treating this number as insignificant, that's a stretch, which is why I'm sharing this video, because this figure deserves a closer look. Let me break this down for you because honestly, I just can't take that figure seriously. Here's something interesting from Dom, the co-founder of EZA, who works on the XRP ledger. He shared a post with his 180,000 followers on X that caught my attention. Don says, FYI, Circle's IPO valuation is $5 billion, 0 cents, which aligns with Ripple's acquisition offer. There's no way Ripple would go as high as $20 billion, 0 cents for Circle. Now, here's where it gets interesting. PSAC. Many argue that $5 billion, 0 cents seems low since Circle manages $60 billion, 0 cents in collateral for USDC. But here's the catch. That collateral isn't Circle's to keep. It simply backs the stablecoins they issue. Circle's revenue comes from the interest generated on that collateral, which explains the $5 billion, 0 cents valuation. Makes sense, right? Oh, and there's more. Daniel Conway shared a quick yet insightful thread on this topic. Let me dive into that next. I'm not familiar with this individual, but I stumbled upon this thread thanks to Rosalind Layton, a former Forbes contributor who spent years brilliantly covering the CCB Ripple case. I've shared plenty of her insightful articles over time, and that's how this landed on my radar. Here's what Daniel had to say. Circle, having turned down Ripple's $5 billion 0 cents acquisition offer, might come to regret that decision. Why? Let's dive in. Circle is undoubtedly a strong company, but in 2022, it failed to go public at a $9 billion 0 cents valuation, a number many believed was overly ambitious. Last year, Circle was riding high with a $5 billion 0 cents valuation. But current market conditions, unlikely to shift soon, have prompted the company to rethink its second IPO attempt. Ripple, however, swooped in with an offer matching that $5 billion 0 cents valuation, an enticing proposition, especially with markets stuck in bear mode. Will the cycle swing back in Circle's favor? Hard to say. The landscape is shifting fast, competition is fierce, and over the years, opportunities can vanish. So, do you hold out for the big win or take the deal while it's on the table? Rosalind Layton puts it bluntly. Damn's right, Circle needs to act fast. Bear markets fuel acceleration, and rebounds turn innovation into domination. The window's closing. Ripple has cash, infrastructure, and legal clarity. Here's an interesting take from my fellow XRP YouTuber, Crypto Eddie. Yesterday, she shared this. Ripple buying Circle isn't about the financials, it's strategy. This move cuts out competition, seizes control of USDC, dominates the stablecoin market, sidelines smaller players, and grabs Circle's payment network, which could boom after an IPO. So what's that worth? A lot. And honestly, I think a second offer is on the way. It just feels like this is far from over. Ripple isn't the type to walk away after one shot, especially with their deep pockets. Let's be real. They've got more money than they know what to do with. If anyone can pull this off, it's Ripple. If Ripple has to pay more to make this happen, isn't it worth it in the long run? Think about it. Securing a deal like this could position them to dominate the market for decades. Sure, the price tag might seem high now, but is it really when the payoff could be market domination? Yes, Tether is still in the picture, but this is the number 2 stablecoin issuer we're talking about. Now imagine Ripple owning that. It's a massive move, an absolute game changer. And the ripple effect, pun intended, on XRP and the XRP ledger, monumental. It's almost certain they'd issue it on the XRP ledger. Why wouldn't they? It's the logical choice. Honestly, I'd be surprised if they didn't go that route. All signs point to this being a huge win, but hey, let's see how this plays out. In the meantime, don't fall for these $20 billion 0 cents rumors. If we hear soon that a deal is happening, I won't be shocked, even if it's much bigger than the initial buzz. Even if the $20 billion 0 cents figure is somehow accurate, I'm still very skeptical. It doesn't mean we should blindly believe it right now, no matter how tempting it sounds. The truth is, there's no credible source backing claims like that. That's all I'm saying here, folks. But hey, fingers crossed this deal actually goes through, because if it does, it could be a game changer for XRP holders in the long run. This could be absolutely huge. Just a quick reminder though, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't rush into buying or selling anything based on what I say, because if I'm wrong, that'd be one seriously bad move.